Hello everyone, Sheldon with iHardware here, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys and doing a quick overview of the Nintendo Entertainment System, which I have right here. To start off, if you guys don't know what the NES is, which I'd be very surprised if you guys don't, it was Nintendo's very first console in the US, not their very first console. The very first console was made in Japan, also known as the Famicom, which had the exact same hardware specs, except it looked completely different since when they were making this console for the US, they wanted to make it like a VCR or something that was not related to a game console since Atari had just crashed the market with the Atari 2600 and games like E.T. and Pac-Man. So starting off right here on the front, you got your power button, your power LED, your reset button. Right here you got your controller 1 and controller 2 ports. On here on the top, we have the Nintendo logo and entertainment system. Now, you guys might be able to see this in the video, which I can see right now on the screen. It's a little bit more yellow here than it is down here. Most of the console itself has stayed the same color as it has before. But what this happens is when it's exposed to sunlight, the color it has a chemical, the fireproof chemical that they use inside the plastic turns yellow over time, and that was just the case with my console right here. A lot more consoles have been kept in a little bit better shape. This thing is in great shape, except for right here on the top where you can see it has yellowed quite a bit. Now moving on to the side here, we have nothing much, just some slot right here, which I'll explain in a bit when I get to the bottom. Right here on the back, which you guys can see here, you have your, let me see if I can get it to focus there. Well, it just says AC adapter, channel 3 and 4 switch right here for your RF switch, which I'll show you in a bit too. Right here on the top, we have just ventilation holes and pretty much just the aesthetic of the NES. Then over here on this side, we have the audio and video. So that's it's quite a unique selection for the video ports. Since later on Nintendo consoles they used an adapter, you couldn't just hook up a straight cable. I like this a lot when it came to I forget the name of this. Composite video and stuff. I like it how it was like this, and then it would go into another right into the back of your TV. So if you had a VCR or something, you could just hook the same cables right into the back of the NES, not using the proprietary cable if you didn't want to. But this was quite special back in 1985 since a lot of TVs didn't even support it then. Some did, and that was a nice feature to have. It was like having HDMI back in 2005. So just like on the original Xbox and stuff, how it wasn't standard. This was mainly the proprietary connector was the RF. This was a quite a nice feature to have back in 1985. So last but not least, right here on the bottom, we have basically all of your information here. If I can get it to focus in on there, you guys might be able to read it. The tripod's in the way, but what this panel right here on the back was underneath here, as I can see, underneath this is a connection for a dock that you could probably put on here. Expansion slot, that's what I meant to say. Nintendo never really incorporated that into the design. They were going to create some funny things. There was even one, some casino game where you could earn money, virtual money and stuff like that, gambling, and Nintendo didn't want to do that. They wanted to make this more of a family-oriented console, so that never happened. The port was never used, and if you guys want to look more videos up on YouTube, there's plenty on YouTube that show kind of the history of the expansion port, which is quite funny. So that's pretty much it right here, guys. Might show some gameplay footage of it, and the next console that I will be reviewing is the SNES. But before we go, I'm going to show you guys the controller. The controller right here is quite a well-known controller. It's very popular. If you guys, there's shirts, a bunch of things, plushes, just everything you see, you've probably seen this controller, even if you don't know what the NES console is itself. Right here, it's basically basic controller, probably my favorite looking controller out of all the controllers. You got your basically no analog stick. That wasn't released until the N64, but just up, down, left, right, your start button, your select button, and B and A. Nothing else, no trigger ports on the back. That was all you needed just to play Super Mario Bros. Or anything like that. And that wasn't the only controller that came with the NES. Released with the earlier NESs like mine, this was the gray Zapper 1985 right here, as you can see. Get it to focus in on there. Rotate it this way so you guys can see it right there. So basically what the NES Zapper was used for was Duck Hunt, which was a shooting game that you would use on CRT monitors. You would point at the screen, pull the trigger, and it makes that click noise like you can hear. Pretty sweet sound. If you guys are really into the NES, you know what that sounds like. And basically, so yeah, the screen would flash very quickly. You wouldn't be able to see it with the negative human eye. You'd just shoot, it would flash the screen, and then you'd be able to shoot the duck if you hit it. It was usually bundled right here with Super Mario Bros. This is the cartridge that came with the NES. You had Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt on the same cartridge. Very unique, and I thought that was kind of cool for the day. So later on, Zappers were changed to orange because people were calling these real guns, and there was something that was going on, and they ended up switching the later models of the Zapper to orange, the same orange as the trigger, but all of the gray was replaced with that orange. So it didn't look as cool. Very happy to have the gray one. So quite funny. I have the older model. So right here with the cartridge, what was unique about this, since the reason why they came up with this cartridge design, which really isn't that popular in my opinion, people didn't like it that much, mainly because of the way the NES, after a long period of time, the pins inside of the console that connected with the cartridge itself would bend over time. So what you would do is, this is basically, I'm just standing it upright right now, you would insert the cartridge like this with the font going upright, and normally when the NES was brand new you could push it in all the way, and then you would press down this and it would shut down and you'd be able to turn on the system and go. But when your NES got older, you used it over time and you played a lot of games on it, what would happen is, like I was saying, the pins would bend. So you couldn't press it in all the way, put it down, and it would be all good. What would happen is the power LED would flash, and you would just get that rainbow color on the screen that you'd be used to back in the 90s and stuff. That very annoying look on the screen. Nothing was working. So the first thing you would probably do is you would clean out the cartridge, clean out the contacts with rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip, and then sometimes that would work. If that didn't work, what you could do, if I can show you guys here, is right here where the end of this cartridge goes. You press it down and then you push it in. Can't do this right now. Okay, there it goes. And then it would slide across the side of this. If you're used to the NES, you know what I'm talking about. It would go in, go right up above it, and that's the case with my NES. Press the power button, the game works. So that was just a quick problem with the NES in the day. So the later models of the NES was the slot loading, since people were more not as afraid of Nintendo and games failing like they did on the Atari 2600. So America gained their trust back in video games, so they didn't have to do this look anymore. That's the only reason mainly why the NES looked this way. They probably would have gone with the Famicom look if it hadn't been for the consoles crash, but you could say Nintendo did bring back video games back in 1985, not 1885. So that's pretty much it here, guys. One last thing is the RF switch, which was the main way of connecting this very long cable right here. So what you would do is right here on this controller, if I can get it to focus in right here, you have your control deck. This cable right here goes and plugs into the NES. This cable right here connects to your RC connector, or Molex, or not Molex, what am I thinking, can't remember, just cable connector like you would normally do with an antenna or whatever back in the day. A lot of TVs, modern TVs, even have this connector still on them. And then right here you would plug in your cable box or antenna in from for your TV. So basically, yeah, that would go in, and then this cable in the back would go into the RF connector. It looks just like a normal RC connector plugged in the NES. That was your proprietary video, but still, if you had this connector back in the day, recommend using that. That was the way to go. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to see some more reviews and videos, the next one will probably be on the SNES, or I don't know, I might do the Atari 2600. We'll have to see with that. Alright, so guys, thanks for watching.